This was a 5-year project looking at the changing racial and ethnic contours of America since 1980, so it was a longitudinal study. We were looking at every single community in the United States, and at some point it became clear that I should take a closer look at Alaska to see what's going on here, and that's kind of where things started. The most interesting part of this research was that Mountain View, the neighborhood of Mountain View, is actually the most diverse census tract in the entire United States. And it went from there. The media heard about it, and it became a kind of a bigger story.
Well, I read about his research in the Daily News that indicated that the 3 census districts in the Mountain View area were the most diverse in the United States. Well, I got the idea to compare the census district maps with the maps that of eligibility to go to the different high schools. So I wrote an email to Dr. Farrell suggesting that based on his research and what little I did, that East High might be the most diverse high school in the country, with West and Bartlett not far behind, and suggested could he look into it.
And I emailed the parent back and said, well, I'm not sure, that's a good hypothesis, but I do know where to get the data. And I put some time away on a Wednesday morning, and I extracted those data and crunched the numbers and did a very similar sort of analysis. And that's where those analyses originated. That found East was in fact, the parent was correct, was in fact the most diverse high school in the United States.
I think as an immigration lawyer, I'd always been aware of the incredible diversity of our city, but there'd never really been numbers or evidence of that fact. And so it was really nice for the first time ever to actually have what I'd seen anecdotally documented and evidence provided for our rich diversity and the amount of cultures and languages that we have in our community.
It was funded by a federal grant. Our goal was to publish in all the best peer-reviewed journals. But then I got that email from that parent, and there's some media coverage of the research, and there's more engagement. So that brings it out of the ivory tower into the community. And now it's in the classroom. So of course now I'm using the same data. I'm having my students in my demography class more or less do the same sorts of analyses that I did, because these data are publicly available. So it's gone from ivory tower academic research into the community, and then also into the classroom. So it's this wonderful virtuous circle which you don't always get. You know, we often think of research as separate from teaching or separate from our community service, but in this case, everything was interconnected.
Chad's research was defining for Mountain View for a couple of reasons. One, it created some more neighborhood pride. So, you know, the community council really embraced it. It used it as a chance to open a new chapter. It was kind of out with the old and in with the new. So you can see signage, gateway signage at the east and west sides of the neighborhood celebrating his results.
I think professors that have an active research ongoing is, one, it makes them more passionate about their work when they're teaching to us, so we get to see their passion, and I think in turn that inspires us as students to find something similar, or that we recognize that this research is, you know, concurrent, but also too that we want to find something just as much as they are passionate about it.
And it gives me legitimacy in front of my students, where I can say, well, I can talk about research, but I've actually done the research. And hey, you can do this research. You can analyze these data in the same fashion that I did. And showing them how to do that and how to access those data really is useful for my teaching.
Like, being able to be hands-on with a project is one of the main factors that I actually decided to go to graduate school. Because I had no idea what I wanted to do after I graduated, but because I was so in love with demography, and after going to be able to experience it, I knew was what I wanted to pursue, versus necessarily just being like, well, I really enjoyed the class and I'm not sure if there's a path forward for me, but by having that hands-on experience, I was able to direct my path, I think, in a really positive direction where I wanted to go.
Chad's research continues to influence what we do. We continue to work with him, for example, on defining health outcomes and measures for our neighborhoods and the communities we work in, as well as how does representation in the local media affect a neighborhood's trajectory even decades later.
It's really beginning to turn these statistics into an asset and turning the information into power. It gives us the tools to be able to talk to ourselves, but also outsiders who don't understand that we are among the most diverse cities in the country. It changes the dialogue and the way that people think of us, and it changes the way we think of ourselves.